The 1992 Arnold Classic kicked off with an opening built on respect and remembrance. Right at the start, Arnold Schwarzenegger paid tribute to the figures who shaped modern bodybuilding. People like Eugene Sandow, George Hackenschmidt, Katie Sandwina, John Grymek, and Steve Reeves. This intro wasn't just a list of names. It was a reminder that the sport stands on the shoulders of pioneers who broke barriers and laid the foundation for everything we see today. By mentioning them, Arnold was making it clear that every athlete stepping on that stage was continuing a lineage of dedication and progress. That opening also set the tone for the entire event. This wasn't just another night of muscles, poses, and trophies. The Arnold Classic has always aimed to celebrate the culture behind bodybuilding, highlighting not only the competition itself, but the long journey that brought the sport to where it is now. Arnold reminded the audience that today's stages didn't appear out of nowhere. They were built by people who turned discipline into legacy. And with that, he invited everyone watching to reflect on the impact of those early legends and how the athletes competing that night were also writing their own chapter in this story. The competition took place at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Columbus, Ohio, a venue that, over the years, became practically synonymous with the Arnold Classic itself. By its fourth edition, the event was already firmly established as one of the most important bodybuilding shows in the world, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Mr. Olympia. It was obvious that this stage had become an annual landmark, drawing fans, athletes, and industry professionals together to celebrate bodybuilding in its highest form. During the opening, Arnold also talked about how much the sport had evolved financially and structurally. He recalled his own days as a competitor and mentioned that he earned just $1,000 when he won the Mr. Olympia. Not even enough to cover what top athletes today spend on prep. But at the 1992 Arnold Classic, the total prize money was over $200,000, with $75,000 going to the champion. That contrast showed just how far bodybuilding had come. And it wasn't just about bigger paychecks. It reflected the event's growing influence and worldwide relevance. Beyond the main competition, Arnold emphasized how the Arnold Classic had turned into a full-on celebration. The weekend brought together prejudging, seminars, special performances, parties, and meet and greets with fans. It was an environment that mixed competition, community, and culture, offering way more than just stage routines. For anyone attending, it was clear that the Arnold Classic wasn't just a contest. It had become a festival celebrating bodybuilding as its own complete, vibrant, ever-expanding universe. To really understand the scale of the 1992 Arnold Classic, you have to look at how the competition was judged. The show followed a 4-round scoring system, each round with a very specific purpose. This structure allowed the judges to evaluate the athletes from every angle, from basic symmetry to technical mastery of each pose. It wasn't just about showing muscle. Every stage worked like a filter that revealed who was truly ready to fight for the title. The first round, known as standing relaxed, focused on symmetry, proportion, and overall development. Even though it's called relaxed, this moment demanded complete control. Athletes had to keep their muscles tight the entire time, showing balance between limbs, harmony between upper and lower body, and a clean, confident posture. This phase was crucial for spotting who really had a complete physique before any official poses even began. The second round brought the compulsory poses, where improvisation simply wasn't an option. Front double biceps, side chest, back poses, triceps, abs and thighs. Each one was designed to reveal strengths and expose weaknesses. Arnold often said this was the moment when the body turned into a map on display. Any imbalance, lack of definition, or proportion issue instantly came to light. After this tough evaluation, only the top 10 athletes moved on to the rest of the contest. The third round, free posing, gave athletes total freedom. With music, choreography, and their own personal style, each competitor could craft a visual story that showcased the best of their physique. This was the perfect moment to highlight strengths and strategically hide anything that might hurt their score in the compulsories. And beyond the muscle, this was where each athlete's personality began to shine, building a real connection with the audience and adding artistic value to the sport. Finally came the round fans waited for the most, the pose down. In this last stage, everyone hits the stage together for a fast-paced, high-energy comparison. This is where everything comes together: intensity, stage presence, conditioning, and pure confidence. Each athlete fights for the judge's attention, knowing these final seconds can shift the entire outcome. Arnold always emphasized the criteria guiding these phases: definition, muscle separation, symmetry, and conditioning. To him, a great bodybuilder wasn't defined by size alone, but by that perfect blend of aesthetics, preparation, and total command over their physique. The men's division at the 1992 Arnold Classic brought together competitors with completely different styles, physiques, and personalities. Among them, Achim Albrecht stood out instantly. A German athlete living in California, he impressed the crowd with a massive, full physique, delivering a slow, controlled presentation. Every movement was calculated to highlight his size, and the strategy worked. The audience went wild whenever he hit a heavier pose. Achim wasn't just big, he knew exactly how to look even bigger. Another important name that night was J.J. Marsh, the 1991 Ironman Pro Champion. His performance showed a well-balanced physique, a lot of vascularity, and great back development. But J.J. seemed slightly overtrained, which softened the density and visual impact of some poses. Despite his technical strengths, Arnold pointed out that he lacked a key ingredient: stage presence. It was as if J.J. had the body to compete at the highest level, but not the energy needed to command the stage that night. Mohammed Benaziza also drew attention, and in a very unique way. Standing at just about 5 feet 2 inches, 1.57 meters, he was the shortest athlete in the entire lineup, but that didn't stop him from delivering one of the most praised routines of the event. His proportions were flawless, and his muscle detail popped with every transition. The deep cuts in his triceps, serratus, and abs triggered instant reactions from the crowd. Benaziza chose a slower, dramatic routine, treating each pose like a framed masterpiece. And the crowd's response made one thing clear: size isn't everything. Sonny Schmidt brought a complete contrast to the stage. A charismatic Australian with a huge physique, he relied on energy, confidence, and visual impact. Known for his insane leg development, it didn't take long for him to win over the audience with strong poses and a routine full of personality. His performance radiated confidence and presence, two essentials for anyone aiming for the top of such a competitive event. To many fans, Sonny was one of the strongest contenders to shake up the final results. But no one marked the night like Vince Taylor, the frontrunner and the event's main attraction. With razor-sharp conditioning, especially in his back, arms, and legs, he delivered a routine that mixed technique, showmanship, and charisma. His signature robot posing, combined with flawless transitions, turned his performance into a mini-show of its own. The crowd reacted to every move, and Arnold even said it was one of the best routines in history. Even finishing the routine exhausted, Vince still displayed absolute control on stage, making it clear why he was the favorite. Steve Brisbois closed the group of finalists with a solid performance, but he suffered from having to go on right after Vince Taylor. His smaller frame and more restrained routine couldn't match the energy left behind by Vince's act. Despite presenting a well-developed back, Brisbois couldn't generate the same excitement that had been carrying the audience through the night. Still, his effort and technical precision earned him a respectable place among the top competitors of such a stacked show. Between one routine and another, the 1992 Arnold Classic also delivered moments that went far beyond the competition. One of the first highlights was the tribute to Franco Columbu, Arnold Schwarzenegger's longtime friend and training partner. Franco was remembered for his extraordinary strength, his relentless training intensity, and the unwavering determination that defined his career. The tribute moved longtime fans and reinforced how important relationships are within bodybuilding, bonds that go beyond trophies and last across generations. Franco's presence also worked as a reminder of Arnold's own legendary past. The duo, famous for their brutal training sessions and for a partnership that produced countless titles, represented an era when the sport was still taking shape. Seeing Franco celebrated on stage gave the audience a feeling of continuity. The Arnold Classic wasn't just about showcasing new talent. It was also about honoring those who paved the way. Another unforgettable moment came when Arnold called none other than Lee Haney to the stage, the 8-time Mr. Olympia champion. The crowd erupted instantly. recognizing they were standing before a true living legend. Haney had broken a historic record, Arnold's own record, by winning the Olympia 8 times in a row. His presence wasn't just symbolic, it was a milestone in the history of the sport. The speech that followed was filled with respect and camaraderie. Arnold highlighted Haney's extraordinary achievement and made it clear that his own records existed to be broken. The way he celebrated Haney's success showed exactly the kind of sportsmanship that shaped his career. It was rare to see two such influential figures in bodybuilding sharing the stage like that, and the audience understood the significance of the moment perfectly. The unity of these two giants created one of the most memorable highlights of the entire event. Franco Columbu represented friendship and tradition. Lee Haney embodied excellence and the new era of bodybuilding. Together, standing next to Arnold, they turned that moment into something truly historic. While the spotlight was mainly on the men's Arnold Classic, another moment grabbed attention during the weekend. The women's competition, the Ms. International, held alongside the main event. It unexpectedly became the center of one of the night's biggest controversies. It all started when Paula Birkenshaw, known for her extremely muscular and sharply defined physique, failed to place in the top 6. The decision immediately caused confusion and sparked protests from fans in the audience. Frustrated with the result, Paula returned to the stage, breaking competition protocol. In a bold act of protest, she made obscene gestures toward the judges and accused the panel of being biased against women with more extreme muscularity. The scene shocked part of the crowd, but it also brought an old debate in women's bodybuilding back into the spotlight. How much muscle should actually be rewarded? And where, exactly, was the line between feminine and too much in a sport built entirely around physical development? After the incident, the competition moved on, and the title went to Anya Schreiner, an athlete with a softer, proportional physique that aligned more closely with what was considered a feminine standard in the sport at the time. When Anya was announced as the winner, she walked on stage visibly tense after everything that had just happened. In her speech, she asked the audience to respect the effort of all the competitors, no matter what physique style they chose to follow. It was a balanced message, but one that highlighted the weight of the controversy. Anya's stance reinforced an important reflection about the future of women's bodybuilding. Her speech didn't attack or defend any extreme. Instead, it highlighted the value of diversity within the sport. In a field where athletes train for years to reach their goals, is it fair to impose a single standard of what's acceptable or appropriate? Paula's case reignited discussions about aesthetics, judging criteria, and bodily autonomy, debates that still echo in the sport today. Commenting on the incident, Arnold pointed out that the issue was inevitably subjective. To him, the definition of femininity in bodybuilding would always be debatable because it depends on public perception, aesthetic preference, and the sport's own evolution. Back on the main stage, when the 6 finalists were called out for the final pose down, the entire atmosphere in the auditorium shifted. This was the decisive moment, where strategy, stage presence, and confidence became just as important as the physique itself. Achim Albrecht, Mohammed Benaziza, Steve Brisbois, Terry Pastel, Sonny Schmidt, and Vince Taylor all knew that these final minutes could determine everything. The pose down began with direct comparisons, athletes lining up side by side in silent but intense battles. Each competitor fought for the best angle, the best lighting, and the best moment to stand out. It was as if each one was saying, "Look at me. I'm the one who deserves the title." Bigger physiques immediately drew attention, while more compact and deeply detailed athletes like Benaziza shined when the poses emphasized muscle separation and the depth of their cuts. One of the most memorable moments of this round came from the charismatic Sonny Schmidt. He didn't just walk to the center of the stage confidently, he owned it. In a playful moment, he started joking around with Mohammed Benaziza, pretending to chase him while both hit poses, earning laughter and applause from the audience. That spontaneity lifted the energy in the room and showed how much stage presence can influence how a competitor is perceived. Meanwhile, the athletes fought for crowd support, well aware that the audience's excitement could subtly sway the judge's impression. With every pose, every flex, every transition, the finalists worked to spark reactions, turning the pose down into both a visual and emotional spectacle. It was a battle that blended art, technique, and showmanship, where every detail mattered, from the width of a lat spread to the confidence in a competitor's eyes. Even standing beside the giants dominating the comparisons, Mohammed Benaziza still managed to stand out in an impressive way. His muscle density, deep cuts, and flawless proportions became even more striking when contrasted with taller competitors. He proved once again that in bodybuilding, size isn't everything. Quality, symmetry, and conditioning can speak louder than sheer mass. When it was finally time for the awards, the Veterans Memorial Auditorium fell completely silent. Every placement announced shaped the ending of an intense night. In sixth place came Terry Pastel, securing his spot among the finalists, but without making a major technical or artistic impact. In fifth, Steve Brisbois, despite his effort and a well-built back, ended up overshadowed by the strength of the earlier performances. Soon after, fourth place went to Achim Albrecht, whose massive physique wasn't enough to surpass the overall quality of the top three competitors. The announcement for third place went to Sonny Schmidt, who received heavy applause for his stage presence and full, powerful physique. He was one of the standout performers of the night, especially for the charisma and energy he brought into the final pose down. Second place was awarded to Mohammed Benaziza, whose incredible muscle density and sharp conditioning nearly carried him to the top. His performance proved that even as the shortest competitor in the lineup, he had the physique, technique, and presence to fight for the title until the very end. Finally, the most anticipated announcement of the night came. Vince Taylor, the 1992 Arnold Classic champion. The moment his name was called, the crowd erupted, recognizing the masterful performance he had delivered. For Arnold, Vince's victory was unavoidable after what he had shown on stage. His conditioning was flawless, with deeply carved muscle detail and separation that stood out in every pose. On top of that, his charisma and command over the audience placed him on another level, turning his routine into a true spectacle. Arnold also pointed out that Vince embodied every element that defines a great champion: proportion, symmetry, definition, personality, and artistry in his presentation. His routine wasn't just technical, it had a narrative, rhythm, and emotional impact. According to Arnold, Vince had found the perfect balance between physique and performance, something rare even among the sport's top professionals. Upon receiving the $75,000 prize, Vince Taylor celebrated with the confidence of someone who knew he was living a defining moment in his career. He said he was still at his peak and aiming even higher, including future appearances at the Mr. Olympia. For many fans, that night marked the high point of his journey, solidifying him as one of the greatest showmen and athletes in bodybuilding history. The 1992 Arnold Classic came to an end with the same powerful energy that had defined the entire competition. Arnold Schwarzenegger, always charismatic, stepped back onto the stage to officially close the event. He highlighted how incredibly successful that edition had been, pointing out that the packed auditorium reflected a growing worldwide interest in bodybuilding. It was clear that every seat in the room represented someone passionate about the sport, someone eager to witness, in person, the evolution of the physical culture that Arnold helped popularize around the globe. Arnold made a point to praise the athletes who competed that night. To him, the level of competition was exceptional, maybe one of the highest ever seen at the Arnold Classic up to that point. The combination of impressive physiques, well-crafted routines, and unforgettable moments created an edition that would go down in bodybuilding history. He emphasized that every competitor, regardless of their final placing, played a role in making the show bigger, stronger, and even more exciting. He also celebrated the atmosphere that took over the entire weekend. It wasn't just a contest, it was a gathering of fans, professionals, industry figures, and people who simply loved the sport. Between seminars, special performances, the prestigious prejudging, and all the interactions with the audience, the Arnold Classic had solidified itself as a full-scale festival. Arnold recognized that this format helped make the event truly unique, capable of attracting both longtime veterans and brand-new enthusiasts year after year. As he wrapped up his speech, Arnold directed his gratitude toward the audience. To him, the event's success didn't come only from the athletes or the flawless organization, but from the crowd's contagious energy. It was that enthusiasm that made the Arnold Classic grow so quickly and become one of the pillars of bodybuilding worldwide. Arnold valued every cheer, every shout, and every sign of support coming from the stands. And then, with the signature humor everyone expected, he closed with his most famous line, "I'll be back." A simple but powerful promise, one that confirmed what the audience already knew. The Arnold Classic wasn't just an annual event. It was a tradition that would keep evolving, inspiring, and celebrating the greatness of bodybuilding. As Arnold walked off stage, he sealed the end of a historic edition, guaranteeing that the following year would bring even more excitement, challenges, and unforgettable moments. After revisiting every detail of the 1992 Arnold Classic, it's easy to see why this event marked an entire generation of bodybuilding fans. Every athlete, every performance, and every special moment helped build a legendary edition that continues to inspire people who follow the sport today. And if you've made it this far, it's because you share that same passion for the stories that shaped the bodybuilding world over the years. So before we wrap up, here's a special invitation. If this video brought you any value, hit that like button. It helps the channel tremendously and allows us to keep creating content like this. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. I also really want to hear from you. What was the most memorable moment of this Arnold Classic for you? The tribute to Franco Columbu? The historic appearance of Lee Haney? Vince Taylor's epic victory? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your messages not only enrich the conversation, they help build a community that's more united and passionate about this sport every day. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos.